If you want to fight and you want to send a contract, send one to me. I will take a few weeks break from living my retired life to kick the living fuck out of a fucking goofy, fucking entitled dickhead like you. You know my name, Andrew Tate. Fucking Google it if you want to know more. Any day, anytime, let's fucking go.
Andrew Tate has shaken up the internet with a bold challenge to Jake Paul, and the world of combat sports is buzzing with excitement. In a viral video, Tate didn't hold back, directly calling out Paul in his typical intense style. The challenge comes amid Jake Paul's ongoing attempts to dominate the boxing scene, with his recent bout against Mike Tyson sparking heated discussions. Fans packed the AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas for the much-anticipated fight, which was streamed live on Netflix. While the night promised chaos, it delivered more than expected, but perhaps not in the way Tyson supporters had hoped for. After the fight, Mike Tyson reflected on the experience with his trademark humility and resilience. When asked about his feelings after the match, Tyson simply said, "Absolutely happy." He followed this up by praising Paul's preparation and determination, stating, "I knew he was a good fighter. I knew he was prepared. I came to fight." Tyson's words showcased his respect for the younger fighter, even as he remained focused on his own journey. Tyson also shared his personal perspective, emphasizing that the fight wasn't about proving anything to the world. "I didn't prove nothing to anybody, just to myself. I'm not one of those guys that look to please the world. I'm just happy with what I can do." His comments reflected the mindset of a seasoned legend who fights for personal growth rather than public approval. When asked about the knee brace he wore during the fight, Tyson candidly admitted, "Yeah, but I can't use that as an excuse, because if I did, I wouldn't be in here." Despite dealing with a physical setback, Tyson's willingness to step into the ring and deliver a performance reaffirmed his legacy as a fighter who doesn't shy away from challenges. Jake Paul, on the other hand, expressed his admiration for Tyson in an emotional post-fight speech. Addressing the crowd, Paul said, "First and foremost, Mike Tyson, it's such an honor. Let's give it up for Mike, bro. He's a legend. He's the greatest to ever do it. The GOAT. He's the GOAT. I look up to him, I'm inspired by him, and we wouldn't be here today without him. This man is an icon, and it's just an honor to be able to fight him." Paul didn't hold back his respect for Tyson, calling him the toughest, baddest man on the planet, and admitting the fight was every bit as tough as he had anticipated. His words reflected a genuine appreciation for the opportunity to face a boxing icon, showing a more humble side of the usually brash fighter. As the event wrapped up, the mutual respect between Tyson and Paul stood out, offering a rare moment of camaraderie in the often chaotic world of boxing. Meanwhile, Gervonta "Tank" Davis decided to stir things up, adding a fresh twist to Jake Paul's already eventful journey in the boxing world. Davis didn't hold back, sending a clear warning to Paul with a fiery statement. "One more thing, I'ma beat the brakes off Jake when I catch him. Uppercut, jab, jab, left hook, uppercut, hook, watch." The bold comment immediately caught the attention of fans and sparked debates over whether Davis was serious about stepping into the ring with Paul. Not one to shy away from a war of words, Jake Paul clapped back with his trademark humor and confidence. Responding to Davis, Paul said, "Gervonta Davis is just angry he's not tall enough to ride the roller coaster at Disney World. I'm sorry, little buddy. I know it's not fair." The quick-witted response instantly went viral, with fans split between cheering Paul's comeback and defending Davis's reputation as one of the fiercest fighters in the sport. The drama didn't stop there. Conor McGregor, never one to stay silent, weighed in after the fight with a now-deleted tweet that caught everyone's attention. In his tweet, McGregor wrote, "They are eyeing Pritchard Colon for next opponent." He further made another made on the X about the Mike Tyson calling him the God's creation. He stated, "A solid nipples like cigars, knockout power. Mike is truly God's creation. God bless Iron Mike." While the comment was quickly deleted, fans were quick to screenshot and share it, keeping the conversation alive. Jake Paul, however, wasn't amused by McGregor's cryptic praise for Tyson. Responding on social media, Paul called McGregor out directly, saying, "Dear Conor, I know you told my team you would fight me at 170 pounds. That's never happening, but let's run it in MMA, no weight class, just like how it used to be done, but you won't." Even Even in the post-fight press conference, Jake Paul confidently addressed the idea of facing Conor McGregor, dismissing it entirely. He argued that McGregor's contractual obligations and lack of control over his career would prevent him from ever stepping into the ring with him. Paul didn't hold back, claiming McGregor knew better than to take on such a challenge. His statement carried his signature mix of swagger and provocation, aimed at both poking fun at McGregor and solidifying his own reputation as someone unafraid to call out the biggest names in combat sports.
Interested in that?
Yeah, he'll never do that though. He knows. He knows way.
One, he's under contract, and
he's not his own boss.
And two, he won't do it. He knows better. He might.
And it's funny to say, like, yo, Conor McGregor is scared of Jake Paul and will never box him.
Jake Paul didn't stop at contractual jabs. He went on to compare McGregor's performance against Nate Diaz to his own. He stated, "Look at him, go toe-to-toe with Nate Diaz, who was easy work for me. That was like a Monday sparring session to beat Nate Diaz's ass." Paul's words aimed to discredit McGregor's skills while highlighting his own dominance, suggesting that McGregor would never take him on because of the risk of losing. With confidence seen from every word, Paul declared that a fight between the two would never happen, framing himself as the more capable and fearless competitor. Jake Paul's confidence didn't waver as he continued to take shots at other notable names in the boxing world. While McGregor remained a hot topic, Carl Froch entered the conversation with a scathing attack on Paul that quickly grabbed attention. The retired boxing champion, known for his sharp tongue, didn't hold back as he directed a series of brutal comments at Paul, both personal and professional. Froch took to Twitter to mock Paul, making it clear that even in retirement, he believed he could finish Paul in no time. Listen up, Jakey boy. I'm 11 years retired, not done a round of boxing for over a decade. I'm old, gray, and out of shape, but I'd still give your missus the best night of her life. I bet she dreams about a real man. Let me know if you still want your cars washing. She can let me in through the back door. P.S. I'd knock you out in 30 seconds. You are useless. Paul, never one to back down, fired back with a fiery response, calling Froch a sour loser and dismissing him as irrelevant. He tweeted, "Sour loser, shut the f*** up. I've done more in 4 years than you have in your life. First and last time I respond to your broke, salty ass. Let me know if you want to wash my cars." The back and forth quickly went viral, with fans split between supporting Froch's blunt criticism and defending Paul's growing reputation in the sport. Froch wasn't done, though. He further addressed the idea of fighting Paul, clarifying that he wasn't actively seeking a fight or chasing a payday. However, he admitted that if the opportunity presented itself, he wouldn't shy away from taking it. Froch confidently pointed out that his financial situation was stable, and he had nothing to prove, making it clear that any potential fight with Paul would be about exposing his boxing shortcomings rather than personal gain.
All you've got left is somebody like me. He'd mentioned me before, and there'll be people out there saying, "Oh, Carl Froch talking about himself, he's after a payday." Listen, I'm not after a payday. I'm doing all right. There's no problems with my finances.
Froch didn't hold back as he shifted his focus to Jake Paul's abilities, or lack thereof, in the ring. With no hesitation, he dismissed Paul as a legitimate boxer, criticizing his performance against Mike Tyson and calling it further proof of Paul's limitations. Froch's confidence shone through as he declared that it wouldn't take much effort to expose Paul in a fight, even going so far as to say that a single punch would be enough to settle the score. He stated, "But I'll take the expletive payday, of course I will, and I'll end Jake Paul with one punch. I'd go in there one-armed and beat this guy. He can't box, he's absolutely expletive useless," which we saw last night with Mike Tyson. Froch didn't just dismiss Paul's boxing skills, he also shared his thoughts on Paul's growing popularity and his ability to draw attention in the boxing world. While recognizing that Paul knows how to sell tickets and keep audiences interested, Froch was quick to point out that Paul hasn't yet reached the level of filling massive arenas like other boxing legends. Froch acknowledged that Paul has made significant strides, but argued that he's still a long way from becoming a true draw in the sport.
He sells tickets, he puts bums on seats, people are interested. Netflix, 30 million, come on. 74,000 now at the AT&T, not quite 80,000, is it? He's not there there yet. He's getting there, but he's not quite there. He doesn't do the big crowds, does he? But he pulls in the old Bunsen burner, doesn't he, Jake Paul? So I don't think he'll hang his gloves up. There'll be a plan for Jake Paul.
Froch also addressed the possibility of a fight with Paul, but expressed his doubts about it ever happening. He was adamant that Paul's team wouldn't reach out to arrange a match, suggesting that they are fully aware of how one-sided it would be. Froch made it clear that he wasn't actively pursuing a fight with Paul, but he didn't shy away from pointing out the clear gap in skill and experience between the two. He stated, "But I tell you what, my mobile phone won't be ringing, will it? They won't be sending me an email. They won't be contacting my agent to get a fight because they know. I ain't calling him out. I'm just letting you know that he knows that I know." Froch then doubled down on his confidence, describing how easily he believed he could handle Paul in the ring. He labeled a potential fight as an absolute mismatch and claimed it would be a one-round demolition. Froch went so far as to joke that he could beat Paul with one arm tied behind his back, making it clear that he viewed Paul as no real threat in the boxing world. He stated, "If I went in there with Jake Paul, it would be an absolute mismatch. One-round demolition job. I'd even tie one arm behind the back." Froch further made the bold comment and exaggerated description of how easily he believed he could defeat Jake Paul. He confidently detailed how he would take control in the ring, lining Paul up for a devastating knockout. Using vivid and almost theatrical language, Froch made it clear that he didn't see Paul as a serious opponent. His words were both humorous and cutting, showing just how certain he was that a fight between them wouldn't last long. He stated, "Just imagine one arm behind the back, just lining him up with his right hand and eventually levering him with a big upper, a big over and dirty stinker. Put him in the El Sparko position like he's been tasered." The escalating tension between Paul and seasoned names like Froch has added layers of drama to his already controversial career. From fiery exchanges to bold claims, Paul has kept himself at the center of boxing conversations, drawing both criticism and attention in equal measure. But while names like Froch and Davis have taken shots at Paul, one challenge stands out among the rest: Andrew Tate's bold and unapologetic call-out. Tate's challenge wasn't just another publicity stunt, it was personal. After taking time to address other critics and rivals, it's time to revisit the man whose words have sparked some of the biggest discussions around Jake Paul. Tate made it clear that he sees Paul not as a fighter, but as a symbol of everything wrong with the modern boxing world: fame over skill, spectacle over substance. Tate's sharp critique of Paul's quick rise to fame was aimed directly at the foundation of his success. He mocked Paul's YouTube stardom, comparing it to a fantasy that would never survive in the real world of combat sports. He argued that Paul's victories were carefully planned, suggesting they lacked genuine competition. Tate confidently stated that facing him would expose the difference between entertainment and true fighting skill.
Jake Paul, it's clear to me you are desperate for a reality check. You know what? If I made my money impressing 4-year-olds on YouTube and managed to somehow become a multimillionaire from it, I'd probably live in a dream world too.
Tate didn't stop there. He turned the spotlight on the fighters who dedicate their lives to the sport, calling out the disparity between their sacrifices and Paul's celebrity status. He delivered a scathing reality check, contrasting Paul's cushioned success with the struggles of true fighters who pour their hearts and souls into the sport. He emphasized that most fighters never see the kind of payday Paul has. Despite being far more skilled, these fighters train tirelessly, risking everything for a sport that rarely rewards them. Tate made it clear that Paul's fame doesn't reflect the grit and sacrifice required in the real fight world.
There are a whole bunch of men out here who will never be as famous as you, will never make the money you've made, who would kick the living out of you. This is the hardest sport in the world, and people dedicate their lives to this, and most of them never get a payday. It never pays off for the majority of fighters, who would you up.
If Paul needed more motivation, Tate raised the stakes with a financial challenge. While admitting he didn't have Paul's massive fortune, Tate was willing to put his money on the line to prove a point. He offered a $3 million bet, daring Paul to match it for a winner-takes-all fight. This bold move showed Tate's confidence in his abilities, even after years away from the ring. This wasn't just about the money, it was about pride, respect, and shutting down what Tate sees as a spectacle rather than a sport. For Tate, it was a chance to remind the world of the difference between real fighters and entertainers.
I made a little bit of money. I don't have 50 million to bet with you, but I do have 3 million to bet with you. So this is your offer. $3 million. You put 3, I put 3. Winner takes all.
Tate didn't hold back, mocking his own retirement while taking aim at Paul's boxing credentials. He made it clear that while he might not be an active fighter, his skills and experience still make him a formidable opponent. Tate downplayed his chances, presenting himself as a retired man enjoying life, but his words carried a sharp edge. He turned his so-called disadvantages into a taunt, daring Paul to step into the ring. The message was clear. Even with years away from the sport, Tate believes he has what it takes to humble Paul. It wasn't just a challenge, it was a calculated dig at Paul's pride and self-image.
5 years out the ring. I'm a kickboxer. You're 2-0 in boxing. I'm 0-0 in boxing. I've never even fought boxing. I'm a retired old man. 5 years I've been sitting around smoking cigars and fucking bitches, which are better looking than the girl you're advertising anyway.
Tate didn't shy away from mocking Paul's strategy of chasing fights with high-profile legends. He called Paul out for avoiding real challenges and suggested that losing to him would be far less glamorous than losing to Floyd Mayweather or Conor McGregor. "I will fight you any day of the week. Don't worry about Conor McGregor you up. Don't worry about Floyd Mayweather you up. You only want to lose to them so you can say, I lost to Conor McGregor. Why don't you lose to an old man who is retired?" Andrew Tate didn't hold back as he launched into a scathing critique of Jake Paul's fame. He drew a sharp line between the world of online entertainment, which he sees as Paul's domain, and the brutal reality of combat sports. Tate's words highlighted the sacrifices and dedication of real fighters, setting a stark contrast to Paul's celebrity-driven success. "I live in the real fucking world, Jake. There is a whole bunch of fighters out here living in the real world. Men who are dangerous and have dedicated their lives to this sport." Tate then took his critique to another level, calling out Paul as the ultimate example of entertainment overshadowing true skill and hard work. He made it clear that Paul's fame doesn't equate to respect in the world of professional fighting. Tate's biting words not only questioned Paul's legitimacy, but also called into question the value of his fortune, which he attributed to spectacle rather than substance. "I don't have a fucking fraction of the money you have because you managed to become a fucking clown. The biggest clown on the fucking internet." Andrew Tate's challenge to Jake Paul has brought the focus back to what it really means to be a fighter. From Tyson's humble reflections to Froch's sharp words and Davis's bold threats, Jake Paul remains at the center of the boxing world, but Tate's direct call out and strong words have made things personal. His claims about Paul's fame being built on entertainment, not skill, and his $3 million bet to back up his challenge have fans buzzing with anticipation. The big question now is whether Jake Paul will accept Tate's challenge or stick to his usual carefully chosen fights. Fans are eager to see what happens next and whether this feud will lead to an actual fight or just more heated exchanges online. What do you think? Will Jake Paul step into the ring with Andrew Tate, or will this challenge go unanswered? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more updates and exciting stories from the world of boxing. Stay tuned for more videos.